What's better than $2 Tuesday at Sports Memo? How about Freebie Friday? We can't go any lower than free, and each and every Friday we'll hand select a best bet from one of the hottest handicappers on the site and give it out for free. All you have to do is each and every Friday, head over to sportsmemo.com. The Freebie Friday will be listed on the homepage, and you'll be just a click away from a free bet.
Welcome, everybody. It's Friday, June 25th. You're watching WagerTalk Today. He's Teddy Covers. I'm Lawrence Presman. And Theodore, we got Steve Merril right off the top. Astros, Tigers, Athletics, Giants. Two games that I looked very deep into. Then Andy Lang. He's got a prop bet on Giannis for us. And also we'll be speaking about the Houston game. Has a different type of bet than Steve in that game. And, of course, Carmine Bianco back after missing yesterday to talk some soccer for Saturday's matchups. Teddy, I had a winning night last night, 7 winning days in a row, but I did lose my hockey bet. Manishtana is the Jewish phrase for that at this stage of my handicapping experience. How did you do last night, my friend?
You can use that talking heads, same as it ever was, Prez, same as it ever was. I won last night as well. It's been a real good run for me. It's good to see me and you hot at the same time, finally.
Yeah.
You were hot and I was not, and then I was hot and then you were not. Now both of us are running pretty good. And I want to start with what we learned last night, because what we saw, and I'm going to talk hockey, a sport that I do not handicap. But what we learned in hockey last night carries over across sports when it comes to the postseason. The Montreal Canadiens were underdogs in every game in the first round, every game in the second round, and every game in the third. I think they were pick 'em in one game during that span. But essentially, the betting markets have said Montreal's weaker than all three of the teams that they have played and beaten to get to the NHL finals. And we never saw the markets make the adjustment saying, hey, the Habs are good. Oh, the Habs are playing better. Oh, let's adjust Montreal up. This is not unique to hockey. Look at the NBA playoffs this year and the teams that have been consistently undervalued. Look at the NFL playoffs in recent years. It wasn't the case last year where the Bucks, were were they a 5 seed last year? But the markets in the postseason never adjusted to Tampa playing better than their regular season form. So this is something you absolutely want to be aware of. When the playoffs start, the power ratings don't adjust the same way. And whatever the numbers were at the end of the regular season, you might find similar numbers 2-3 rounds into the playoffs. Bet in Montreal, congratulations, you made a whole bunch of money the last month or two. And frankly, they're likely to be big dogs again when it comes to the NHL finals and the Stanley Cup. What about you, Prez? What did you learn last night?
Teddy, first off, that is such an outstanding take, and I mean, totally relevant. Here we sit with Atlanta Hawks playing Milwaukee tonight. Atlanta beating everybody up, anybody in their way. Finds himself at +7 in game one. Betting money comes into 8. They win outright. What are they tonight? Same damn thing. So outstanding take, Teddy, and so directly relevant to literally a game that is going down tonight. Listen, here's what I want to say. And this is not in regards to betting. I just want to say that it's hard not. I mean, look, everybody knows I hate Montreal Canadiens. They're my least favorite team across any sport in the world. There are badminton teams in North Korea that I cheer for more than the Montreal Canadiens. With that said, it's really hard not to like this story. I offhand, and I think I'm right, but I could be wrong. If Montreal wins the Stanley Cup, they will be the worst team seed-wise to ever win the Stanley Cup, ever. They barely got into the playoffs. And then everything just turned for them. And there are a lot of really likable characters on that team. I mean, this kid, Cole Caulfield, skates around with a big smile on his face, just lights up the rink, has all this wonderful positive energy emanating from him. Suzuki, likable guy. Shea Weber, one of the greatest defensemen of all time. You know, you kind of want to see Carey Price win a Stanley Cup. Luke Richardson, their head coach, literally just found himself. I don't know if you know this, Teddy, but the actual head coach, I mean, it's a good and a bad story all at the same time. The actual head coach waits like 15 years to finally get a head coaching job, gets a head coaching job, and then gets COVID and has not been allowed to coach for the last 3 games and has to miss the next 5 games. So that sucks for him. But then his assistant coach, out of the blue, is now the head coach, and he's won every game he's coached. Amazing stories coming out of Montreal. So kudos to them, man. It's a real struggle for me because I can't stand the team, and yet I like all the players on it. And their general manager, if you guys know the Prez, you know that if I was a general manager in the NHL, I would be Bergeron. I would have long hair. I'd wear a ridiculously tacky red suit, and I would dance and jump and scream and lose my shit every freaking goal. The cameras would be on me all game. So I consider him a dude. So anyway, congrats to the Habs. Yes, Teddy?
So I got to ask you, because you said that the Habs are your least favorite team, and I know you're a Blue Jays fan, and it feels to me like everyone who's a Blue Jays fan or a Red Sox fan, the Yankees are their least favorite team.
Yeah, no, the Leafs. The
Leafs are your number one, which makes Habs your number one enemy, right? Would the Yankees
Teddy,
be number
listen,
2 as your least favorite?
No, my least favorite. No, I have no issue with the Yankees. I'm not like, and the thing for me is, Teddy, I cheer for the Blue Jays. They are my second favorite team, but I don't bleed Blue Jays. I bleed Leafs. Sure, and the fact that I bleed Leafs, it has nothing to do with Montreal. I like Ottawa. I like Winnipeg. I have no issue. I don't believe that you need to like a team and then hate its rival. I love the Boston Bruins. And Boston has been Toronto's biggest rival of all over the last 10, 20 years. And I like that team. No, my problem with Montreal is a political thing. So it has nothing to do with sports. And I don't really want to get into it because yesterday I might have offended German people with my chuchaching. And today I don't want to offend Montreal people. So namaste. Lots of love. I love everyone. Steve Merril joining us. Steve, get your butt in here, brother. How are you today?
Doing well. And it's funny, like Teddy, I rarely follow hockey anymore since I disowned the Washington Capitals over 2 decades ago. But the Montreal Canadiens take is really interesting. I've been in the middle of it, of course, because I do Gabe Morency's shows on Tuesday and Friday night. As you know, Prez, he's a lifelong Canadian fan, as Teddy knows. And he's been riding them the whole time. And one thing I will say is in hockey, like baseball, it's so dependent on one player, the goaltender or the pitcher in baseball, that's another thing, where these teams can really ride streaks. And for the most part, Montreal was doing it with low scoring wins from what I saw till recently. But Teddy's point is good. I mean, the one edge you can find as a handicapper in any sport is when you could see something that has changed in the short term, which makes the long-term numbers the odds makers using incorrect. And that's where you find those edges over a 5 or 10 game span. And we often see it in the NBA regular season, when teams start playing faster or slower and they don't catch up on the total. So it has been a very interesting case study, even for us non-hockey guys like me and Teddy.
Yeah, and Steve, I don't know if you've ever had that feeling, but boy, I just want to go back and redo the playoffs. I had the most incredible NHL season, just unbelievable. I mean, like 80 units. And however good my NHL season was, my NHL playoffs was the exact opposite, almost to the unit. I just want a redo. But we'll get one. It just won't start until April 2021. Steve, before we get into it, man, you have been absolutely on fire. 12-2 all sports run. 12-2 all sports run in your last 7 days. Perfect sweep, 6 of 7. And the last 2 months, my God, 60 wins, 37 losses. That's close to a 72% win percentage over a 2-month period. Wow. Wow. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, before people criticize you, 60 and 37, 72% return on investment is what you meant there. I think it's mid 60%. So, but that of course, as you know, Prez, is more important than win percentage, is that return on investment, as we all talk about. These are all 4% plays. I've had a few 5%ers. I think the 5% are below 500, the 2 or 3 I've released. So once again, shows why you play everything consistently. But real quickly on the NHL thing, it was the opposite for me, Prez. I had one of my worst regular seasons in the NBA ever. I had a great college basketball season, as you guys know, so I was up overall combined. But then I kept saying here on the shows, NBA playoffs is a different beast. It's been the most consistent moneymaker for 25 years for me, and it's been that way. NBA now on a 34-19 run the last couple months. And, you just got to keep grinding away and not live and die by short-term results, as I preach every time I'm here on this episode.
Yeah, and Steve, I had the same. I had a tough NBA season, and I've killed it in the playoffs. Let's get into our first game, Astros versus Tigers. And, listen, I want to hear your take on this, but also I want to hear and maybe Teddy can add to this. When do you stop? When do you say no mas? It's 11, 12 in a row, absolute demolition of every team in front of them. I've been playing the Astros -1.5. I've been releasing it to my clients almost every single day. When do you stop?
Well, you definitely don't try to guess when you stop, and you definitely don't try to catch that falling knife with losing streaks. We saw the Arizona Diamondbacks lose 17 straight the last few weeks, so they finally broke that. And if you'd said, they can't lose 13 in a row, or they can't lose 14 in a row, they can't lose 50, then you would have been wrong like 5 times before you were finally right. Same thing with the Astros right now. As you said, Prez, they are red hot. They've won 11 straight. They've gone over in 9 of those 11. Astros have been very, very good to me, as Manny Mota would have said in baseball. Back on Monday and Tuesday, my 2 free play videos that I made here on WagerTalk TV, I used the team total Astros over 5.5 on Monday. It was 7-0. Yes.
We're just being told that this game is going to be rained out.
Woo! Bet the draw quickly.
Yeah, I don't have any notification on that yet. That's what
I should have checked with the Detroit office. Well, I'll quickly we'll talk big picture here about the concept that you were talking about with these hot streaks. And, the Astros had gone I think I break the notes where they'd scored 6 or more runs in 11 out of 13 games. They're playing the Orioles, who are the worst team in baseball the last month. And the team total was 5.5. So I used the team total over there. The next day I came back with the run line with the Astros because they continue to win by 2 runs or more, just like the Dodgers. And once again, big picture, when playing run line with teams, you want them to win by margin, and you like the road teams, and everything checked the boxes there. So we'll see how this game plays out tonight. Once again, Astros team total's over, the overs in the games, the run line keeps working until it doesn't. And
So
you can use that Saturday and Sunday as well.
On the weather forecast for Detroit, what I'm reading is the first batch of rain should be clearing around the first pitch. There's a second batch that could impact play later in the game, but hopefully it could hold just north, or it could fade out to light rain. There's a decent chance that this game will be played as expected, and maybe even played without a delay. The winds are expected to be blowing in from right center, and a significant wind, 15 to 20 miles an hour, for what it's worth.
Teddy, just in keeping with really what we're talking about, and I know you like to speak conceptually. The same question to you, man. These guys are betting Houston every day, betting the over. When do you stop?
You to stop when it loses. I shouldn't say that. You stop when it loses multiple days in a row. And even then, you might want to go a little further. If the fundamentals are in place for Houston to keep winning and keep winning by margin, I'll ride through a 2-game losing streak if I come back-to-back. But if they lose back-to-back, I'll probably come back a third day on the Astros. If you're riding that team, you made a fortune with them. You have enough to withstand a loss or 2 or 3 and still show a significant profit from the entire series. But the answer is you keep playing them till they lose. And then a lot of times you play them again right after they lose. And then
Hey, Prez,
there's no definitive stop now, but I would never stop until they lose. Never even think about it if you're riding one of these.
Yeah, Teddy, what I was going to say, too, something else you want to look at, guys, is you can kind of look at that ebb and flow of the offensive momentum. If a key player gets hurt, there's usually a catalyst in all this stuff, just like in the financial markets. There's a catalyst when something turns. And right now, the Astros are clicking. Everyone's playing well. When I see that offensive production start to drop off, Teddy, out of 2 or 3 games,
Right.
maybe where they're not scoring 10 double-digit hits every game, which is well above the league average, that also could be the barometer that things are starting to turn over a bit.
Yeah, and that's such a great point, Steve. They did have that 3-1 game a couple of days ago, and then they came back with 2 games where they lit it up. And last night, Steve, I don't know if you watched the Houston game, they put up a shit ton of runs again, but they found themselves 3 innings where they ended the inning with the bases loaded. So, I mean, they literally left 5-7 runs on the table.
14 for the game. What? They left 14 runners on base on 18 hits, 12 runs. Yeah, after that 3-1 win when they only had 8 hits, they've had 35 hits and 25 runs the last 2 games. So that's exactly what Teddy was talking about one game. Like you said, Prez, you didn't jump off them after that 3-1. Oh, they've cooled off. Yeah, 35 hits and 25 runs the 2 games since. And let's keep in mind, they're at Baltimore. They're at Detroit. They played Texas before they swept Chicago White Sox, who are a good team but aren't playing well. We'll see what happens when they start playing some good teams, too. That also could be something that changes. That's what happened to the Utah Jazz. Monster winning streak against a lot of bad teams, mostly at home. Then they started to struggle on the road.
Outstanding stuff. Guys, as we spoke about, Steve Merril, 12-2 all sports run. You can get his next 7 days of all plays, $69. Use the promo code PASS69. Pass 69, and at our age, that's something that is very common. So pass 69. No more 69. Okay, can barely bloody breathe. Anyway, Steve, you want to talk about Athletics Giants? And this is a juicy game, man. I handicapped this game late last night. I leaned on the Giants, and I literally, for the first time in my life, I called Dave Koken. I'm like, Dave, man, what am I missing here? And Dave says, let me take a look. And he texts me back going, I lean on Oakland. John Ryan likes Oakland. I did research on this game. So I'm off this game. Where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, this is a game that was just a bit outside also for me for the same reasons. I mean, how could you possibly play against San Francisco right now, basically as a home dog? Been the best team in baseball from the start, and they're kind of the Montreal Canadiens of baseball, if you will, right now. They've overperformed all season long. They have yet to make the adjustments. Let's keep in mind that when the season began, the 2 favorites to win the World Series were both from this division, and it wasn't even San Francisco. It was LA and San Diego over all other 28 teams in the league. And the Giants are ahead of both of them right now, and the odds makers have yet to adjust. And here again, offensive momentum. San Francisco crushing the ball. I mean, it's legitimate. This hot streak they're on right now, they've won 8 of their last 9. They have put up 5 runs or more in all 9 games straight. They have had 11 hits or more in 7 of those 9 games. I mean, they're just crushing the ball. Now, that probably comes back to earth a little bit this weekend against a decent Oakland team. We have seen the line drop a little bit. I think one of the reasons maybe is because Brandon Belt, the first baseman, is now listed day-to-day. So, that could be that catalyst I'm talking about where we could see a little bit of a disruption here in the offensive flow. But until I see otherwise, I would lean San Francisco this game. Oakland also, though, I also like the over. That's actually what I was planning on using when we talked about this game. But now that the Giants have become like even money in some spots, I think that's interesting. But the over is actually my preferred play in this game, over 7.5. Once again, as I just mentioned, San Francisco, 5 runs or more in 9 straight games. Oakland, though, is quietly hitting the ball very well as well. They've also had 10 hits or more in 4 of their last 6. They've scored 5 runs or more in 9 of their last 12 games over a couple weeks. And their pitching's been a little mediocre during this 2-4 slide. So I definitely would not be playing Oakland here. I'm not sure I'd be on San Francisco. I'm probably going to pass. I lean San Fran, but I like the over 7.5. That'd be my top recommendation in this one.
So I got to ask you, Steve, because this is one of those money lines, and you look at the line and you just scratch your head because you don't know. I mean, why is Oakland favored here? And why are the markets taking so long to adjust to San Francisco? Because it's not like this is a short-term run for the Giants. it's a half a season, and the markets are basically saying, yeah, we don't care. They're going to come back to earth. Is this a situation where it's San Fran or pass, much like it was Habs or pass in the NHL playoffs? Or is this just a story where the markets, I mean, it baffles me the markets are sleeping this long on this team coming out of the gate. It's one thing if they played crappy ball for 2 months and the markets were adjusting to those numbers, but the Giants have been a bet on team from day one this year, and the markets aren't interested. Explain.
Yeah, we talk about return on investment. I mean, they've played 74 games. They're up 23.5 units in 74 games against the money line. And here again, the last couple of games they played at LA against the Angels on the road, they were a $1.10 dog. They win 5-0. And they're a $1.25 short favorite. They win 9-3. 2 games before that, $1.20 favorite. They won 11-2 at home against Philly. They're only a $1.15 favorite the game before that. That is their only loss in recent games. But yeah, so it's not like, oh, the odds makers know something tonight. They've been just wrong, just plain flat wrong. And the Montreal Canadian analogy is a very good one. So yeah, once again, it does smell fishy to me as well, but I can't make a case for Oakland being a road favorite other than, maybe a slight injury at first base, as I said, to Belt. We'll see what that's worth. But until I see otherwise, I'm not fading the Giants.
Not that I want to prevent John Ryan from making sales, but he released a 4% play on Oakland over at Sports Memo. Buy it just to read why. Because he sent me like reams of reasons why Oakland is the right play. And I'm with you, Steve. Quite confusing why they haven't caught up to the San Francisco Giants. But guys, if you've ever, if you want to read incredible freaking writing, check out John Ryan over at Sports Memo. And speaking of Sports Memo, Teddy, Steve, Teddy is the freebie at Sports Memo on Fridays. So you can go over to Sports Memo and buy Teddy's play for free. You
I love it.
Yes, you can. Teddy, did you know you were?
Yeah. Red Sox, Yankees. And again, it's free. So all you got to do is sign up.
Sign up over at Sports Memo. Sign up over at Sports Memo. You get Teddy's play free, Steve. Again,
Teddy's not going to call me if I sign up, is he? Is he going to harass me if I sign up? I mean, people might be. Oh yeah,
we've got a bank. We've got a bank of telephone operators. Yeah. Our strategy is to call a person, and then we talk them into giving us 30% of their wins. We do allow them to keep 100% of their losses, but we take 30% of their wins. And we scream at you really hard if you don't buy. We call you names. You're a pussy, a wuss, a wimp. Then we hide a presidential play that you can only get on day 5 for $5,000 Western Union. It's a whole process, man. Head over to Sports Memo. Sign up, please.
Yeah, just so people know, we are definitely kidding here because obviously Teddy and I would never do that, but I think some people would be afraid of the Prez doing it because, man, Prez, you could run. I could see you, man, just calling people all day and getting them to buy big, and that's a compliment. But, yeah, just so people know, I don't think there's even a phone number for Wager Talk, or Sports.
There's no boiler room, okay?
Exactly. Just to be clear on that.
No bait and switch. It's a free freaking play. Sign up if you want.
It's free because we want you to follow Teddy because he will win long term like all of us.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. Anyway, Steve, thanks so much for joining us. Pass 69. 7 days of all of Steve's plays for only $69. And we won't call you. Get out of here, brother. Teddy's big game breakdown, Andy Lang, Carmine Bianco, the penalty box segment, so much more. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, guys.
Mr. WNBA Hakeem Prophet has started just where he left off 3 weeks into the WNBA season. He's now 8-4 in total plays while hitting 83% in NBA playoff totals, 10-2. Ski's WNBA season is $269, which is now discounted down to $199. Plus, if you purchase this special before Sunday, you will get the rest of his NBA playoff totals for free. To get Hakeem Prophet's WNBA and his NBA totals through the finals, it would cost you $448. But right now, you can lock in all of these plays for just $199.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk a little MLB for tonight. And throughout the course of the show today on WagerTalk Today, we've been talking about some head-scratching lines. This is one of them, okay? I'm looking at the Minnesota Twins right now as favorites over the Cleveland Indians. In a bullpen game for Minnesota, we got Danny Colombi making his first big league start. This is a guy who, again, he's getting called up from AAA to make the start, but he's been in 155 MLB games, and every one of them's come out of the bullpen throughout the course of his career, with the Dodgers, with the A's, with the Twins last year. And now today he's starting only because Minnesota doesn't have a whole lot of other options. There's going to be another bullpen game for a team that doesn't have a very good bullpen. Cleveland's got a pretty good bullpen. Cal Quantrell's been real good, or solid so far this season. I don't think he's incredible, but he's been solid. Cleveland's winning, all right, 7-3 their last 10 games. They've been winning on this current road trip. And they're a better team than Minnesota is right now, all right? It's a bullpen game for the Twins. They have no momentum. They're not playing well. This is one of those you're like, all right, I can see where the line is, but that's not where my line is. I'll take my shot with Cleveland at the plus price today against Minnesota. Twins got no business being favored in this one. Pick them at worst. Give me a plus price. I'm interested. You can get plus 110, plus 115 if you shop around. That's the way to look, in this bettor's opinion. Look for the Tribe to take care of business against the Twins on Friday night. There's your big game breakdown, Prez. Back to you, my friend.
Yeah, and Teddy jumped into my mind. It's like, who should Minnesota be favored against? Okay, granted, there are worse teams. Yeah, Detroit, KC. Baltimore, Arizona. It's amazing how bad some of the teams are this year. I mean, the streaks are just unbelievable. I guess in both directions. Anyway, let's bring Andy Lang in. And Andy, before you even start, we need more likes. So we're going to put your beautiful face on. Get us some likes, Andy.
Doing my best.
Well done. Outstanding work.
You know how I am going to get likes is I filled a segment at the last second. That's my contribution to getting likes.
Yes. literally texted Andy 45 minutes before the show. I'm like, Ski's under the weather. Can you do the show? And Andy was like, hell yeah. Anyway,
absolutely.
Nice to have you, brother. Let's get straight into it. Giannis, you've got a prop for us on him. Talk to us.
Yeah, we've been doing great in NBA player props, 20-7 the last 27 picks, and we are coming off a clean sweep last night. Been reading the playoffs really, really well. And it feels like everyone in the NBA handicapping world at WagerTalk is doing good this playoff. So it's a really nice run for all of us. So yeah. I keep saying this about player props, and this is so important. This is in just about every sport. In the playoffs, each new series is like a new season. The matchups are different, and you're going to be playing the same team night in and night out. So we looked at Giannis points, rebounds, and assists, and it was an under machine against Brooklyn. We cashed plenty of unders. He went 10-0 at one point. And part of the reason was his complete lack of assists. He never had over 5 assists, and it's really hard to get over the total. So now the first game against Atlanta, I wanted to learn a lot. So watched the game, watched it back. And Giannis had 9 assists, which is very unlike him throughout the playoffs. And what you saw is him and Drew Holiday really got the pick and roll working well. A lot of alley-oops being thrown to Giannis. But the other thing was he had shooters open, Drew Holiday being one of them. And the way that the Hawks were playing perimeter defense, they let a lot of open shots. And Middleton missed a lot of shots. Drew Holiday hit a lot of them. But I was very interested to see the 9 assists from Giannis. His teammates were making shots, and he was finding the open person. And the books throw out 5.5 assists. That feels very low because I think they're looking at the previous series where he never got over 5. So we're going to get about a 2 to 3 game window where they're probably going to put out 5.5 assists. And if this game plan for the offense of Milwaukee continues, you're going to keep seeing a lot of open shots on the perimeter. You're going to see that pick and roll that worked really well. And we could see a 3 to 4 game run of over assist totals for Giannis. He had 9 the first game. I expect him to get over this 5.5 total.
Excellent analysis on that concept. And again, when you have an entire series where a player doesn't go over the current number, and yet game one of the new series, he flies over that number. Andy Lang saying the new series is where you should be worried about where those assist numbers are going to be. Look for Giannis over in that department. What about Clint Capella, who's been, I mean, this is a guy who's been consistently good and has never been a star, and no one's ever really paid any attention to him. And this postseason with Atlanta, he's really been a difference maker. He's lined at 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined. What do we do with Capella tonight?
Well, first off, you have to put Clint Capella in the top 3 or 4 of most improved players this year. He's had just an unbelievable season, and Trae Young is getting all the attention for Atlanta, and deservedly so. So is John Collins. But Capella's been a monster all season, and I looked at the series with Milwaukee against Brooklyn, and Capella is just night and day better on the interior than anything Brooklyn was going to throw at him. So I was excited to get good numbers on Capella in game 1. We hit his over points total, and I figured he would be a rebounding machine against Giannis and Brook Lopez, whose minutes are going down. I did not see 19 rebounds coming. And watching that game, he was able to outmuscle just about everybody on Milwaukee. And Giannis, as tall as he is not as strong down low with the center of gravity that Clint Capella has. And those were 19 fairly easy rebounds for Capella. He was not being pushed out of the way. He was able to get his body in between. And when you can get 19 rebounds and 12 points in game 1, I think that is a sign of things to come for Capella. He's great at getting offensive rebounds, and he's going to get some easy putbacks, which were a lot of his points. He was 6-9 from the field, so he shoots a very, very high percentage because all of his shots are right around the rim, and he's shooting 57% from the field in the playoffs as a whole. I see him getting to this 15, 16, maybe even 17 rebound mark again. And at that point, all you're looking for is double digits in points, which he's done consistently throughout the playoffs. 12 points, 13 points, 14, 12, 10, 11. And then you get a little added bonus with assists. He gets at least 1 to 2 assists just about every game. He had 2 last time. So when you get a points, rebounds, and assists that's in the mid-20s, those 2 assists can come in really, really handy. I look for a big game for Capella. Again, the books not adjusting totally into game 2. I think you're going to get some value on Capella moving forward on his over points, rebounds, and assists.
Andy Lang, awesome stuff. Andy, I just want to show you. Behind you is a Muhammad Ali picture.
Hey! It's my favorite picture of all time. My favorite sports picture. I love it.
I got the same one, man. You know, there's only one of that picture where Liston signed it, and it is worth serious money.
I bet.
He only signed one, and it's in Bob Arum's office, I'm told. Andy3 is the promo code, guys. Head over to WagerTalk.com. Use the promo code Andy3. $30 off his 3-day pass. That's an incredible deal. Andy, thank you for joining us. What do you have to promote?
This weekend has been circled all week for us. The Major League Baseball has a lot of matchups we love. We've been feeling great about the NBA playoffs, and we've been telling people we will have this promo code ready on Friday. It is live now. You will get all of NBA, all of MLB, and then as an added bonus, you're going to get any golf daily plays we will have. We have a Formula One race. We also have NASCAR, swept the board in NASCAR. So it's a great value. Really want to encourage people to get some of these 3-day passes as you're going to get all sports, which we've been red hot on. So really proud of the streaks we're on, 20-7 in NBA and 60%, over 60% in MLB the last 30 days.
Outstanding, man. Thanks for joining us. I know there was almost no notice, so awesome job.
Anytime.
Like always. Guys, please hit that like button, especially for Andy Lang. And Teddy, Carmine just about ready to join us on Wager Talk today. We're going to talk a little soccer, and man, it's amazing. Teddy, I don't know if you watch any soccer, but now we're getting into the round of 16. The soccer is so fun to watch. You can nap for at least 80 of the 90 minutes, wake up, see a goal, go back to sleep, cash your checks. It's awesome, dude. There is nothing more relaxing than soccer.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice sleepy way to spend the afternoon, huh?
Yeah, Carm, though, is out of control. Dude goes to the bars like 4 hours beforehand to get a table. And then he ends up tipping the waitress his entire bill amount. But that's Carm. Come on in, brother. What's going on with you, man?
It's going well, man. Thanks. Yeah, the problem here is we finally reopened in Canada or in Ontario, and you can't book a patio online. You've got to be there at opening. And the problem is Italy plays on Saturday. And as you know, Lawrence, north of Toronto, there's a huge Italian community. And if you don't get a table, you're not getting a table early. So if I've got to be there at noon for a 3 o'clock game, I will be there at noon for a 3 o'clock game. Pour the pints.
I get it, brother. I get it. Nice match, nice color shirt, Carm. And dude, I got to tell you something. I mean, there are bald men and there are bald men, and you are Bruce Willis bald. That's how handsome you are without that hair.
Listen, because Andy was on, I'm going to say this real quick. I don't want to waste all your time. Andy dropped in for the last 2 minutes of puck time today. I absolutely lost my shit laughing. I couldn't believe it. He was on last Friday's show, and I told him we had the same player prop, that if two guys have the same prop and it loses, you've got to show up the next week and shave with a shaven head. And he had his wife cutting his hair in the last 2 minutes of puck time. It was absolutely hilarious. If you haven't seen it. Oh,
that's brilliant. You know, I'm going to watch it later, and I love Andy. He brings it, and he's funny, which for me is something that I enjoy. Listen, let's get straight into it, Carm. It's the round of 16. There's some amazing matchups. I mean, who thought Germany and England were going to play right now? France and Portugal. What matchups are most interesting to you for this round?
Yeah, well, first off, the top of the bracket is an absolute, it's just stacked with teams. You've got Belgium and Portugal that we're going to talk about playing on the weekend, round of 16. You've got France there, you've got Italy there, you've got Spain there. There's absolutely stacked in that top half, which gives the teams in the bottom half, and one of them being another game that we're going to discuss. You could get a sleeper coming out of that bottom half of the bracket. But there's some great games. Germany and England as well, too, from Wembley. That's just another fantastic game. But the Belgium-Portugal one is definitely a must-watch game.
Carmine Bianco, as we get into the round of 16, I just want to let everybody know there still are draws. You can still bet the draw. All that happens is it has to draw in regulation time, and then you win your bet. But obviously all games will end. Belgium, Portugal, Carm, this should just be an incredible matchup. The Euro 2016 champions against the team ranked number 1 in the world by FIFA. Belgium plus 145, Portugal plus 200, and a draw at plus 225. And I don't know where to go here. I'm thinking there will be goals scored, though.
Yeah, well, there will be, and I'm going to get to that. But I picked this game because obviously it's one of the marquee games of the round of 16, and this is one of two games where it's extremely tough to handicap. The other one being the Germany-England game, and the reason for that is, and you mentioned it, this very well could be a game that goes into extra time and possibly penalties. Portugal in 2016, on their way to winning that title, played 4 knockout stage games. The first 2 went to extra time and penalties that they won. Yeah. Then they beat Wales, and then they beat France in extra time again. So, there are other options when you're looking at betting a game like this where you like Belgium, but instead of taking the plus 145, you can take them to advance. And the to advance line is about 143, minus 143. And that takes into consideration everything, whether it goes to extra time, whether it goes to penalties. Portugal, on the other hand, is even money, plus 100. So you could take them and not worry about the game going to extra time and penalties, because bookmakers will grade the three-way line based on 90 minutes and any injury time, which is only a few minutes at times. With that said, Portugal they finished 3rd in their group, but it's played extremely well. Their XG numbers were very good. And Belgium did what they were supposed to do. They won a group they were supposed to win. But these are two very good teams. And while I don't want to touch that three-way line, because this very well could go into extra time and even penalties, I think a better way of looking at it is there are going to be goals, Lawrence, but they're not going to be a lot. So I don't even want to touch the total. You can take both teams to score at -120. There's a very good chance this is going to be a 1-1 game that goes to extra time. Yeah. But even if it doesn't, I believe both teams find the back of the net.
So the opening match of the knockout stages on Saturday in Amsterdam is Wales versus Denmark. Wales priced at +400, the draw at +2.25, and Denmark short chalk to win -120, right in that range. And it's certainly a game that I know you and your clients are going to be very interested in watching. Wales impressed in the group stage play, finished second behind Italy. Denmark overcame the almost tragic events of Christian Eriksen's collapse in their opening game, and then subsequent losses in their first two matches to finish second as well. The Danes, big favorites here. Where are we going with this matchup?
Yeah, and Teddy, you nailed it right on there. And I will be watching this one intently with, as will my clients, because I got them on futures on Denmark after those first two losses, because the setup was right there for them to finish second in this group and get a favorable first round game. And they're on futures. I've heard from people that message me, they're on everywhere from 50 to 85 to 1 on Denmark. Now, I've also told them privately, if they want to get out of their liability on the futures bets, Wales to advance, which is Wales to win the game, whether it is in regular time, extra time, or penalties, is +200. So you can at least get your liability out by putting a half a unit or a unit on and getting that out of the way. And then the bigger hedge comes in the next round when they possibly play Netherlands in Baku. That's a neutral field that they'll be playing in, and that is where you can likely go for the bigger hedge. As far as this game itself goes, this way I'm looking at it. Wales did play fantastic, but did play very well. Where they suffered when playing Italy and Turkey and Switzerland is with speed on their wings. They play with a back three. They have problems with set pieces, corners, free kicks into the box, and crosses into the box. It's where they suffered. And a lot of times, Switzerland were getting balls and missing the net. Italy got some balls, missed the net. Denmark's a different team. They have that speed. The three qualities they have are the three qualities that Wales suffer from. So they're good with set pieces. They're good with corners. They're good at getting balls into the box. They had the fourth highest XG number in this tournament, behind only Spain, Netherlands, and Italy. And then you look at the chances they created in their three games. Against Finland, 23 shot attempts, 6 shots on goal in that game that they should have never finished and played the next day, that they lost 1-0. Against Belgium, the number one team, 22 attempts, 6 shots on goal, and they could have buried them in the first half, ended up losing that game. So they still lost. But against Russia, 16 attempts, 10 shots on goal, they put 4 behind them. This team is playing, this is a sleeper team. They're playing very well. And if they can get by Wales, who play a tough defensive game, this team can go far in the bottom half of the bracket. So Denmark -118 to win the game in regulation time, 90 minutes plus any injury time, is the play here.
Awesome stuff, Carm. You're going to be joining us next week as we look at the games for those days. Thank you so much for coming on, man. Any promo codes or anything you want to hand out? Yeah,
I always forget to mention the promos, but listen, there is one out there. It's KO60 for knockout, obviously. KO60, $60 off the knockout stage package, which is every single play that I'm putting out. There's already 6 plays loaded. 2 of those 6 plays are 5% plays, which go for $35 each normally. So you can get the whole package for $139 after you applied that $60 coupon, KO60. And every single side total prop bet that I release, you will get. So that's a pretty good deal.
Awesome stuff. Teddy, really quick, Carm. One of our listeners, OHB313, in brackets, it says Michigan made. So obviously he's from Michigan. It reminds me of a tattoo that went wrong. My brother Darren, my youngest brother, shows up to my house like 5 years ago with a tattoo on his back that says "Made in Canada." I'm like, you're South African. Like, you were made in South Africa, you idiot. Anyway, that just reminded me of that. Let's go, Joe. Penalty box time. I got golf today and poker tonight. Welcome, everyone, to the penalty box segment. I'm Lawrence Presman. Let's get into it. Man, Teddy. Right off the bat, we're going to talk hockey. I like Tampa Bay in the first period. They're minus a half a goal, plus 150. I think they're going to come out rocking and rolling. I also like under the total of 5. I got a baseball and basketball play for you guys as well, but I just want to give a shout out to WagerTalk Today. We do this show every day, 12 to 1 Eastern. And today's show, Steve Merril, Andy Lang, and Carmine Bianco. So make sure to check that out. Teddy, as far as my baseball free pick goes, Blue Jays minus 1.5. And I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to be looking to ride the Blue Jays for a little bit. I think this team is heating up. I think they're going to give it a run in that AL East. I also am looking to play the overs on the Blue Jay games too. I think it's 10.5, 11 today. But I do prefer Toronto Blue Jays minus 1.5. And in the NBA, I like the Milwaukee Bucks in the first half of that game. So the Milwaukee Bucks in the first half of that game. That's it for me, Teddy. I got a Montreal smoked meat sandwich to eat. I'm going golfing, and then I'm playing poker. I got a big night tonight. Take us home.
Absolutely. That's going to wrap it for the week here at Wager Talk Today. And again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us. We'll do it again starting next week, Monday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon for you on the East Coast. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
What's better than $2 Tuesday at Sports Memo? How about Freebie Friday? We can't go any lower than free, and each and every Friday we'll hand select a best bet from one of the hottest handicappers on the site and give it out for free. All you have to do is each and every Friday, head over to sportsmemo.com. The Freebie Friday will be listed on the homepage, and you'll be just a click away from a free bet.